Hey everybody, it's Nell with Little Yellow House Crafts. Welcome back to my channel. It's been 3.5 months. I'm really sorry. Life, I don't know. I just want to first say a huge thank you to all of you who reached out over the last few months. Sending me emails, messages on Instagram and Facebook, mailing me cards and letters. I have felt your arms wrapped around me. So thank you for those of you who expressed your concern in that way. And thank you to those of you who have been thinking of me and have been concerned. We are all fine. As I've said before with this channel, this is a hobby for me. This is not a job for me. And sometimes it starts to feel like a job and I start to feel pressure that I'm putting on myself, not from any external place, pressure that I feel like I'm putting on myself to be constantly creating new content. And sometimes I just need a break. Sometimes my brain, I just need like a mental health break. And so that's what happened. There was nothing wrong. Our family's fine. Everything's still continuing kind of same as normal. You know, I think there was a lot of emotional stuff going on with the death of my brother-in-law. And thank you to those of you who reached out and expressed your condolences and your thoughts and your prayers. We felt them and we are very grateful. My sister-in-law and her kids are doing well. We got to have them out here for Thanksgiving for a long visit for about a week and a half around Thanksgiving. And that was really, really good. And I think they're coming out again in April. So continue to wrap them up in prayer. But they're doing okay, all things considered. And the family has really gathered together in support of them and making sure that they have what they need. So that probably contributed to my needing a mental health break. Also, I was getting burned out on stitching. I don't know about you guys, but I have such a passion for this hobby that I'll stitch for hours a day sometimes when I can. And it's wonderful. And then every once in a while, it usually happens around once a year, I just start to feel burned out and I need a break. So there was about a month in there when I wasn't filming videos where I wasn't even stitching. I was doing other things that I will talk about, but I wasn't cross-stitching and I didn't feel like I had a lot to show. And then of course the holidays happened and we're crazy busy and you know, I just needed a break. But I'm back. I actually want to film a video today for the first time in a while. It is Sunday, February 13th. It's the day before Valentine's Day. That's why I'm wearing a bright pink shirt. I hope that if you have Valentine's plans that it's wonderful and that you get to celebrate love in all its forms. Romantic love, but also, you know, familial love, self-love, friendly love, all of those different kinds of love that make us human, right? Humans are interesting creatures with their ability to love and feel compassion and deep connection with each other in so many different ways, not just like a mother to her child or a mated pair, but like the kinds of love we can feel are endless. And I think it's an incredible gift. And I am a religious person, so I think it's a gift from God. But wherever it comes from, I think it's a wonderful gift. So I hope you get to celebrate Valentine's Day in some kind of special way. We're going to celebrate tomorrow night on Valentine's Day. We have a sitter coming and we're going to go out and have a date night and, I don't know, just try to enjoy being together. But it is almost Valentine's Day. As far as life updates go, we are trucking along. We are getting ready for our big move. We are likely going to be moving in June, and we still don't know where we're going to be living, which is stressful for me, but there's nothing we can do about it at this point. We probably won't know where we are living until April, maybe even May. It's kind of a last minute thing that's going to happen. So I've been trying to do what I can in the meantime going through my house, cleaning stuff out, getting rid of things that we know we're not going to be bringing with us. Yeah, it's gonna be busy over the next few months. So I can't promise I'll be posting as regularly as I would like, but with this huge move coming up, goodness knows. But I have been doing some stitching, at least since kind of after Christmas. Around New Year's is when I started to pick up some stitching. Before that, what I spent pretty much all of November and most of December finishing, and I don't have them to show you today because I want to do a separate video on them. I finished all of my 12 Days of Christmas felt ornaments. I didn't want to cross stitch, and it was Christmas time and I wanted to work on something, so I pulled those out, and I think I had the first 4 completed, and I did the other 11 or however 10, because there were a few, there's 12 days, but a few, yeah, I think there were 15 ornaments altogether because there were a few extras. And so I think I did 11 ornaments in about a month and a half. I love making those ornaments. So I don't have those to show you today. Those will be coming in a video next week or the week after. I haven't decided, because those deserve a video all of their own, because it's a different kind of thing than cross stitching. It's kind of related, kind of not. Anyway, spent a lot of time working on those and loved it. But I do have a lot to show you here, and I'm gonna apologize in advance. I don't know how much of this you have already seen. I can't remember which of these things I had showed you in my last video in September, I want to say. Oh my gosh, has it really been that long? That's right, I did a show. It's been so long. Sorry. One other side note, in October, I was in a show. I did another play, and so that kept me super busy all through the months of September and October. I did Arsenic and Old Lace, which is such a fun play. I got to play Abby Brewster, one of the aunts, and I got to do like old age makeup every night and be a psycho murderer lady. And it was so fun. It was such a fun show. Our cast was amazing. We had an incredible cast of actors and a really great director. Our set design was spectacular. So that was a fun show. And I will insert a picture here of my old age makeup. There you go. I did Arsenic and Old Lace, and it was a hoot. That also kept me busy in September and October. So I think it's been since I did like my Galleria wrap up end of September. I think that might be the last time I filmed a video. So all of that to say, I don't remember what of all of this you've seen. There may be some things here that I showed already in my Galleria video, but they were still out in my pile. Like most floss tubers, I have like a stack, a pile of stuff that I need to show in my next video. And then after I film it, I put it all away. And all of this stuff was still in my stack. So I don't know if that means that I was lazy and didn't put it away, or if that means that this is all new stuff that I need to show you. Regardless, let's get started because we're 8 minutes in and I know you want to see what I've been working on. And there's a lot, so buckle up. This could be a long video. First thing on my stack, I don't know if these are actually in order, but first thing on my stack, you may have seen this already, you may not. You guys know I was doing this piece again from Hands On Design. This is around the holidays, Put on the Hat, and I was doing the little flapjack pillow. I've already stitched this once and I was stitching it again. It did not get finished, but it did get completed. The stitching is completed. I stitched this on that Stormy Night, 32 count Stormy Night Belfast linen by Zweigart. This is one of their like printed, so like on the back it's just plain gray, and on the front they have that modeling printed. It's a really pretty fabric. I quite like these printed vintage fabrics that Zweigart does. So this is the Stormy Night 32 count. I chose my own colors, as I always do, and people are always asking for them, so I am going to show them. Apologies if I've already shown these before, but really quickly, my orange is Dusky Tangerine by Victorian Motto. My yellow, Glowing Marigold by Victorian Motto. My green, Country Lime, also by Victorian Motto. My purple, The Wicked Witch by Victorian Motto. My brown gray is Gentle Arts Sable, which is a called for color actually. And then my black was DMC 310. And my white, I don't have on here anymore. My white was just DMC Blanc. And those are all the colors in this. So one more time, there's Put on the Hat. Second time stitching it. Still love these, still think they're adorable. Maybe someday when I get braver, I might even restitch it again and try making the short stack, the actual little drum, rather than just the pillow. I've been too chicken so far, but I do need to learn how to make drums eventually because I have a couple of drum patterns that I want to make. So that's that. Somewhere in the next few months, I lost my cross-stitching bug, and then one night I decided I wanted to do something different, and so I hopped onto Etsy, and I decided to dabble once again in some hardanger. Because I wanted to try. I think it started with, I found, what's her name? Yvette Stanton from White Threads. She is an Australian lady who is kind of like the guru of hardanger. She's written multiple books on it. She also studies a lot of white work styles from all over the world. So, you know, Mount Melick embroidery, hardanger, Sardinian knotted embroidery, like all of these really obscure white work styles. She studies them, makes things out of them, and writes books about them. Anyway, she has a YouTube channel. I will try to link it down below. And I started watching some of her videos and it made me want to do hardanger. So I hopped onto Etsy and I started with this one. This is the pinwheel doily, and I downloaded this from, I think from the Nordic Needles Etsy shop. And this I just thought was a pretty like basic, you know, kind of beginner friendly piece of hardanger. And I decided to start I used 25 count even weave. I know that that's much larger than is traditional for hardanger embroidery, but since it had been a long time since I did hardanger, I wanted to make it easy on myself. So I used 25 count even weave fabric, and I did it. If you've never tried hardanger, it looks much more impressive than it actually is. It's not difficult. There are techniques that you have to learn, but there is a lady on YouTube who does wonderful beginning tutorials on hardanger, and I remember I watched her videos 7-8 years ago when I tried hardanger for the first time. I reviewed her videos again, and yeah, so we've got lots of eyelets. There are eyelets around the whole edge, lots of like woven bars. These, I don't remember what they called these. We've got chain stitch and four-sided stitch here. Yeah, lots of obviously cluster blocks and lots of cut work. We've got a few dove's eyes, and this like pattern, I don't know what this is, but it's like a woven stitch. It's like back stitch, but in a woven pattern. Anyway, I made a doily. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it because I don't really decorate with doilies. I mostly just wanted to do it to try it out. I just used DMC pearl cotton to do this in 2 different sizes. I think I used size 8 and size 12. And that was my first foray back into hardanger. Then I decided I wanted to do another one. So I hopped back onto Etsy and I found this one, Little Angels doily, and I changed this. In the center square here, you can see these are the heads of the angels. If you see, there's a head, a dress, feet, and these are her wings. And there are 4 of them all around. And it's cute, but I didn't like the head stuff going on. So I just made up my own centerpiece. I still kept this stuff in the dresses because I thought it was very pretty. But the center square you're gonna see, I totally did my own thing. And I just kind of followed ideas from a book that I bought from Yvette Stanton, and just kind of figuring out what I wanted to try and made it my own. But this was where I started, and the rest of the doily is as charted. So this is, and this time I decided to go down and use a 28 count linen. So this time I used linen, which is traditional for hardinger, and I used a 28 count. So we got a little smaller, a little finer, and here is my angel's doily. So you can see the center block, I did this little like rose ship thing, I don't know, some Scandinavian kind of design, and some cluster blocks, and then a bunch of dove's eyes all around, and then the eyelets around the center. And then I went ahead and did the rest of it as charted. So this I just came up with on my own. And the thing about hardinger is it's super easy to chart your own stuff because it's all very regular and geometric, and you can just decide what to fill the spaces in with. So that's what I did. And then, yeah, we've got lots of satin stitch. These are satin stitch motifs. This is where I got the idea to do this in the center. I just took these and repeated them all the way around. But yeah, this was the first time I stitched on linen, doing like hardinger like this. Linen is definitely different. Oh, and then I like these. These are like the Greek, I don't remember what those are called, those filling stitches. Regardless, stitching on linen for hardinger is very different from stitching on even weave. This is much sturdier and it's much more regular. This varies, the threads vary in thickness, and it's much finer. You can see through the fabric. It's much lighter and finer. I like stitching on both of them, but they're just really different. So that was the second doily I made. And I made some cutting mistakes in this one and had to learn how to reweave threads back in, which was good to learn how to correct mistakes when you make cutting mistakes. But anyway, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed getting back into hardinger. I don't know if it's going to become like an all-consuming passion like cross stitch is, but I can definitely see myself every once in a while picking up some hardinger. And so then I decided to go even bigger. This is the book that I bought by Yvette Stanton. This is called Early Style Hardinger, and this was kind of hard for me to find. She is Australian, and her books are not carried on Amazon, I couldn't find it at Barnes & Noble. I couldn't find an American bookseller who was selling this. So I went on eBay and I found I think it was an American seller who had an eBay store, and she had this available to purchase. So if you're in the States, it might be hard to get your hands on this, but it's worth the effort because this book is amazing. If you like hardinger and you're interested in learning hardinger, I mean, she has shown a flip through of this book on her channel, so I feel comfortable giving you a little flip through here. She gives extensive instructions for all different kinds of stitches, okay? Both, and this is amazing, she does them both for left-handed stitchers and for right-handed stitchers. So if you are a lefty, Yvette Stanton's books would be amazing for you because she does this through all of her books. She gives instructions both ways. And then we have the patterns. She includes a big packet of patterns in the back that I'm not going to show you that come out. But these are like some of the things you can make from this book. The other thing I love about her books is she starts with like a historical, like several pages of historical information on hardinger, where it comes from, huge numbers of examples of hardinger, like traditional hardinger versus contemporary hardinger. There are pages and pages. This is the hardinger area in Norway. So beautiful, which is where hardinger comes from, by the way. There's another picture of the hardinger area of Norway. So she goes into so much detail about where this stuff comes from. And so historically, as a stitcher, this stuff is fascinating. Her books are incredible. So we have a bookmark. There's a pattern for a bookmark you can make. A square mat. That's very pretty. Pin tins. She does one in white and then one in color, so you can see what it looks like when you change up the colors. A biscornu. A table runner, which I did a little bit of this. I'm going to show you in a moment, just for practice. I didn't actually make the table runner. Here's a better, more close-up picture of the table runner. A stocking, both in white and in colors. A cushion. A lampshade. That's really pretty. An embroidered shirt with the collar and the cuffs done in hardinger, which is a traditional Norwegian like piece of clothing, but this is a more contemporary style shirt just with the embroidered collar and cuffs. That's what they look like, not attached yet. I think that's the cuff. A traditional apron that is part of the bunad. It's the traditional Norwegian costume that the hardinger is a big part of. And that's it for the patterns, and then the rest of the book is the stitches and techniques. There's so much information in this book. I cannot recommend Yvette's books enough if you're interested in white work, if you're interested in hardinger. But after I finished my doilies, I decided I was ready to try something a little more advanced. So I pulled myself out some 36 count linen, because all of the stuff in Yvette's books are charted for 36 count and up. And I only had ivory, so that's what I worked on because I didn't want to buy something new. And I did some of, you can see, I haven't done any cut work on it yet. I did some of that table runner. And I've only done, up until this point, I have only done, all the satin stitching, the satin stitches, the cluster blocks. I've done a few eyelets in the very center. I've done 4 eyelets. There's lots more eyelets to come. And I've done some of the chain stitch, which is this stitch around. I'm still trying to figure out my tension, especially with chain stitch. I think my tension is too tight on this practice piece. And so I don't know if I'm going to finish this one. It's so hard to see. I don't know if I'm going to finish this one because my chain stitch tension is too tight and it's warping my fabric, like it's making my fabric do funny things. So I'm probably not going to finish this piece, but this was a real adventure learning how to do hardinger on a much finer count linen. This is 36 count linen. So this is a world of difference from the 25 and 28 count that I was doing before. And for this one, I also went ahead and, as is traditional in Norway, I ordered linen threads. And I used linen threads instead of DMC pearl cotton. For this piece, I have used linen. Now, linen is an interesting beast to work with. I have it here in 2 different weights, a thicker weight and a thinner weight for doing the finer stuff. And linen, you can see it's almost wiry, which makes sense. Linen fabric is kind of like that. So it's different working with linen thread than it is with cotton. I definitely want to pursue, sorry, there's a slub. The threads have slubs, and sometimes you have to kind of pick out the slub. I definitely want to keep trying more hardinger with on finer linen, with fine linen threads, which is very traditional, and see what I can do. But I don't think I'm going to continue with this one because my tension was off. And this wasn't ever meant to actually be a table runner. This was just practice. I was just practicing, working on fine linen with linen threads. But it has been so much fun getting into hardinger, and I've learned so much from Yvette in her book. So I highly recommend this. She has another book that she wrote on hardinger that came out many years ago called Elegant Hardinger Embroidery. This is her more recent book, which is early style hardinger. So this is the more traditional hardinger, and I really like this style. I mean, the more contemporary stuff is great too, but if you want to learn like traditional hardinger and the traditional techniques, this is the book you want to use. Also, I did all of this in hand, which is hard for me. I am a Q-snap stitcher to the bone. I have tried cross stitching in hand many, many times, and it's just not for me. But I really wanted to try like traditional style hardinger, which has always worked in hand. So it's a big learning curve. I made lots of mistakes, had to do lots of ripping out on this, but it was awesome for practice. So those were my adventures in hardinger. Let's move on to other stuff. I also found through my library's interlibrary loan a copy of another one of Yvette's books, which is called Smurg. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's another kind of Norwegian embroidery. It's Norwegian pattern darning, which is basically just running stitch back and forth with different colors, creating different patterns with just a running stitch. I would love to purchase this book for myself. I will just show you a few of the projects you can make. Bookmark, table center, that's a little ornament. And it's really beautiful. Pattern darning, here's a big cushion. Pattern darning is really colorful. Here's an example of like traditional pattern darning, and it's on the costumes there. These are traditional pattern darning. You can see it on the Norwegian traditional costume. So again, like her early style hardinger, she goes through the history of it, where it comes from, what it was used for. And I someday, because I am a go big or go home kind of girl, I would love to make this. It's really long. This is probably 5 feet long. This is a band sampler of all these different kinds of pattern darning, but this is going to be an incredibly expensive project for me to kit up, not only because I need a piece of linen 1,000 feet long, not quite, but feels like it, but also because I want to stitch this in the wool threads, which I don't own. Most of this piece is stitched in Soie d'Alger's fine Dabuson wool, Dabuson wool. It's a very fine wool thread made by Soie d'Alger. Oh no, not made by Soie d'Alger. Soie d'Alger is another kind of thread made by Overa Soie. That's it. It's Overa Soie fine Dabuson wool. So the same company that makes Soie d'Alger, like silk threads, they also make this very fine wool thread called fine Dabuson wool. And there's a lot of colors. And it's gonna be expensive. This is a someday project. I will probably, this comes from the library, so I have to return this. But I will buy this book for myself, and I will buy all that wool thread someday and try this, because I think it's beautiful. It's so colorful and interesting. And there's Yvette again, Yvette Stanton. So if you haven't heard of her or seen her channel before, go check her out. She is a wealth of knowledge. And she has done so many books on so many different kinds of counted thread embroidery. Cross stitch is a counted thread embroidery. So is Smurg. So is hardinger. So is all of the other kinds of Ukrainian pulled work that she has a book on. Like, she has a book on so many different kinds. Frisian white work, Frisian, I don't know how to say that, white work. It's all counted thread embroidery. So it's very much in the wheelhouse of us as cross stitchers, just different techniques. So anyway, with that book from the library, I did one tiny piece of pattern darning. I used some DMC pearl cotton in size 12 in black and did a little bit of pattern darning. This is just on, I want to say this is on 32 count linen, just some 32 count white linen. And you can see it's just a running stitch that goes back and forth, and depending on where you skip and where you sink your needle, it creates a pattern. So that's the front side, and that's the back side. The back side is basically a reverse image of the front, because that's where your threads are running. So that's all pattern darning is a running stitch, but it creates beautiful, beautiful patterns. And when you get all those other colors going in there, it's amazing. So those are my adventures before my cross-stitching bug came back. Now let's get to the cross stitch. Some of these are finishes, some of these are whips. I don't know which of these you've seen before, but we're gonna fly through these because I have so many and I don't want us to be here another half hour. Autumn House Trio by Waxing Moon Designs. I started this in the fall. I got the first house done. Autumn, so pretty. I'm stitching this on the 30 count Vintage Country Mocha by Belfast Linen by Zweigart. I'm using all my own thread colors. I'm not going to show them right now because there's so much to get to and I just don't want to take that time. But this will come back up again, obviously, because it's not done. I've only done one of the 3 houses. So I'll be able to show you those thread colors in a future video. If you are dying to know because you want to start this and you want to know what thread colors I chose, because I always choose my own threads, email me. And I'll be happy to pull it out and email you the thread colors. This was a new start back in October, I want to say. I was feeling like starting something new that's Halloween-y, and I started When Witches Go Riding by the Prairie Schooler. I started the big one. I will also probably do this one because I think that's adorable. But I started with the big one. And as is typical for me with Prairie Schooler, I just went ahead and used the DMC that's called for. I just think Prairie Schoolers, I just like the solid color DMC. So I'm just using the called for colors, nothing too exciting there. And for my fabric, I'm using, this is a scrap from something else. This looks like a 28 count, maybe ivory, 28 count ivory linen, cream linen, I'm not sure. And I just got the top band done. This was when my stitchy bug was starting to go. So that's all I got done before I put it away. But it's super cute. I like this linen, this 28 count cream linen looks really good with this particular pattern. So that was a new start, probably in October. It's been so long since I filmed a video, guys. I'm sorry. Let's see, what is this? This was a new start. This one I started in January. I decided to just go for it. I decided to start Plum Street Sampler's Heritage Sampler. I had been putting off starting this because I thought I wanted to stitch it in silk. And then I priced out the silk again and realized that was not in my budget at this time. And I decided I didn't want to wait, you know, the year or two it would be before that was in my budget. So I just went ahead and pulled overdyed cottons and I started this. I am not using the called for overdyes, which are Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works, Classic Colorworks and Weeks Dye Works threads. I, in true Nell fashion, just went into my collection and pulled out my own thread colors and went ahead and started this. I am stitching this on the called for fabric, which is 36 count vintage exemplar linen by Lakeside Linens, which I bought a long time ago, and it's a good thing I did because now you can't find Lakeside Linens anywhere. So this had been sitting in my stash for this particular piece, but this is on that vintage exemplar, and this is how far I got. 36 count. I'm stitching 1 thread over 2. And the coverage is pretty decent. On like the white, more of the fabric shows through than is my preference, but on all the other colors, it feels fine. So I'm enjoying it. I do think for 1 thread, I prefer stitching on 40 count than on 36. I think 36 count, it just starts to look a little thin and a little sparse, but it's not bad on this particular one, probably because this fabric has been dyed, and so it's probably closer to a 40 count now than a 36 count because the threads do shrink a little bit. So that's what I've got done. You can see I'm almost all the way across the top border. I haven't done this last corner over here, and then I'll work my way down before I start filling in the center. I think I might complete all of the border first and then go in and do the center stuff. I don't know, just to do something different, but I'm enjoying this. I love this fabric. This fabric is beautiful. Lakeside Linens is always gorgeous. It feels so luxurious to stitch on Lakeside Linen fabric. And yeah, this is the 36 count vintage exemplar, and it's beautiful. So I started my heritage sampler finally, because I decided I didn't want to wait till I could afford the silks. Okay, next, this is a whip. This is an ongoing whip, not a new start. This is my Quilty Barn by It's So Emma, Lori Holt. This is what I got from Fat Quarter Shop, and this is Quilty Barn. I am still working on this. I like pulling this out when I want to work on something easy that doesn't require a lot of concentration or a lot of counting. It's a lot of filling in. Last time you saw this, I had one of the barns done, and now I have another one and half of one done. So that was the first barn I did. And then here's the second one that I completed when I pulled this back out. And then there's the third barn, and it's got fabric or thread for the roof just hanging because I got tired and was ready to put it away. But I mean, this is a big piece, and these barns eat up a lot of thread. This is a 32 count even weave, 32 count cream Lugana. This is 32 count cream Lugana. The coverage with 2 strands on this 32 count cream Lugana is just perfection. The coverage is so good. It's not bulky. It doesn't feel too tight. It's just perfect. 32 count and 40 count are my go-to fabric sizes, because 2 threads on 32 count and 1 thread on 40 count is just chef's kiss perfection. But anyway, these are my Quilty Barn. Really simple, fun, easy to do. It's really colorful, especially with all of the colors I chose for myself because I like bright colors. But yeah, not much more to say about that other than that's a nice relaxing stitch when I just want to do mindless stitching. This is a good one. This is another whip. This is not a new start. I pulled out, after like a year and a half, my Early Americans piece, and I finished 2 more blocks in my Early Americans piece. So I had done 4 blocks. So I did block number 5, which is Freedom, and I did block number 6, which is Paul Revere. And let me show it to you. I am stitching this on, I don't think I have the thing here. I'm pretty sure this is 32 count ale. I think this is 32 count ale from Picture This Plus, but I need to go back to my videos when I first started this to find out for sure. And I am stitching these all on one, and I am using the free border pattern that Vanna, the Twisted Stitcher, Vanna Pfeiffer, blah, 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 can't speak. She posted this on her blog as a free companion border if you wanted to do them all on one piece the way she did. That's the way I wanted to do it, so I used her free border. Thank you, Vanna, for your generosity. And yeah, I had the first 4 done, and I did Freedom, and I did Paul Revere. Now, if you have stitched this, you're probably looking at my Freedom blog going, Nell, there is a blank space in the grass that's a little star shape. There's like an empty spot there that's in the shape of a star. Indeed there is on the pattern. And Nell, who was just merrily stitching along her way as she was watching a movie, missed it and filled that grass in solid grass. And when I thought about it real hard, I decided I don't care. I don't want to rip all that out and try to put a blank star in there. So mine is missing a star. But other than that, it's exactly as charted. And then there's Paul Revere. I do still love this piece. I don't know why it had been so long since I pulled it out. So it was fun to pull out my Early Americans by Little House Needleworks and do 2 more blocks on it. So now I only have 3 blocks to go. The 3 blocks that I have left, now that those 2 are done, sorry, I have them all in a little baggie here. The 3 blocks that I have left, I have Abigail Adams, who is my personal hero. I love her, so that's probably my favorite one. Patrick Henry and Molly Pitcher. Those are the last 3 that will go along the bottom, and then I'll finish the border, and this one will be done. Hopefully I can get that finished this year. I feel like this has been a whip long enough. It's been a couple of years since I started this, so this one needs to, needs some time. Next, this is a partial finish. I pulled out my Carrots and Cottontails Farm by Hands On Design with Priscilla Blaine. You guys know that I finished my Star Spangled Swine Farm last year and entered that in the state fair, and it won a ribbon. And so I decided after that I wanted to start the springtime one, which is Carrots and Cottontails Farm. I started with the big piece and I have finished the big piece. I'm not counting this a full finish though, because I still need to do the header, like the thing that goes above it on my, the way I have it finished, that the words need to go above the picture. But the picture is done, which is the biggest part. Ooh, sorry if that shook you. Let me pull it out. Here is Carrots and Cottontails Farm. So cute. So this is stitched on 32 count charcoal linen, Belfast linen, which is what I like to use for all of my chalkboard style cross stitches. I like it because it's not straight black. It's much easier for my eyes to see the charcoal, and I just like the color. I just think it's nicer than straight black. So this is Carrots and Cottontails Farm. I used the DMC conversion. I did not use the fancy threads for this. That's the same thing I did with the Star Spangled Swine Farm. I just used the DMC conversion. So that is Carrots and Cottontails Farm. Cute little chickens and bunnies and carrots and tulips, and I just love it. It's so fun. So cute. So the picture's done, and now I need to do the, there's my back. You can see on my tree that I definitely carried that white thread. Each of those little fruits, apples, whatever they're supposed to be, flowers, I'm not sure, has one white stitch in the middle of it, and there ain't no way Mama's gonna be cutting off her thread. So, you know, I have messy backs too, okay? We all do. It's fine. Yeah, I just need to do the words, the Carrots and Cottontails Farm header piece, topper piece. And I have a piece of charcoal linen for that, and I have a little piece of charcoal linen for that third little piece in the pattern, which is the hippity hop. But I don't know if I'm going to do that now. I didn't do that one yet for the Star Spangled Swine Farm either. And then while I was working on that, I just decided to go ahead and pull out and store in the same bag my Jack-o'-lantern Junction farm for Halloween, fall time, and my Holly Jolly farm, which are the other two patterns in this series, which is the, what is this series called? Farmhouse Chalk. Jack-o'-lantern Junction, Holly Jolly Farm, Star Spangled Swine Farm, and Carrots and Cottontails Farm. So those, and I have fabric for both of those in there as well. I just decided to throw them in here because it's all part of the same series. But I finished Carrots and Cottontails Farm, yay! If I can get the header done, I might even be able to put that up in my house for Easter this year. Then let's see, this was also a new start. I don't know when I started this, guys. I'm so sorry. It's been so long. I can't remember when I started it. I started Summer House Trio. I had also started Autumn House Trio. I start a lot of these. I really like these trios by Waxing Moon Designs. And I finished the first one. Same with Autumn House. Oh, and I even started the second one. Look at that. I got further along than I thought. So this is the first house for the Summer House Trio. And then here's the second house. And I was working on the white fence down there when I decided to be done. So got one and a bit of one done. Once again, as per usual, chose my own threads, which I'm not going to show you right now, but if you're dying to know what they are, message me. But that was Summer House Trio. And then the last whip that I pulled out to work on, we're just flying through this. This is faster than I usually go, but I didn't want to be here all day. My threads, ooh, so pretty. I pulled back out my Hands On Design Scary Apothecary series, and I started the next one. There are 9 patterns in this series. I have completed 6, so I started the 7th. This is Snail Slime. Take a Slug. Oh my gosh, Kathy, you are so clever. her cleverness with words. That's part of why I love her patterns. And I'm not going to take it off the Q-snap because I'm working on this right now and I'm just going to have to put it back on. But I've started snail slime. I've got my Hogwarts Crest needle minder and my Hocus Pocus needle minder on my Q-snap. So that's snail slime. That's what I've gotten started on it. Then the last two in the series for me to complete are Bitter Brew and Coffin Paint. Those will be the last two, and then the series is done for me. Just for kicks and giggles, because I have them here, let me show you the 6 that I have completed. On the orange, I have Bat Balm and Skeleton Polish. I stitched these on those fat 16ths. They're the perfect size for these. Bat Balm and Skeleton Polish. On the green, I have Cauldron Cleaner and Spider Legs. Spider Legs is probably my favorite one so far. I love that like negative space spider web there. That's so cool. Cauldron Cleaner and Spider Legs. Then we have Cackle Lozenges and Broomstick Fuel on the purple. And then I'm stitching Snail Slime on the purple. And then I will stitch one of the last two on orange and one of the last two on the lime. So I have those fabrics ready to go because I'm doing 3 on each fabric color. Picked my own threads. Here they are. I'm not going to go through them, but they're beautiful, and I love all of my hand-dyed threads from both Victorian Motto and Color and Cotton. Whew. That's all the stitching from like September onward. So we're mostly caught up. Last thing I have to show you is a little bit of haul. There's not a ton considering it's been like 4 months at least, maybe 5. How long has it been? But I wanted to show, I have had several people send me some lovely gifts, and around like after the death of my brother-in-law and around Christmas. And to those of you who sent me gifts, I've already contacted you and thanked you for them. But I did want to show a few things that I bought when I went down to Texas. When my husband and I went down to Houston in November to get familiar with the area, because that's where we're moving. We're moving to Houston. And neither of us had ever been there before. And while we were down there, I went up to 3 Stitches, which is in Spring, Texas, which is just north of Houston. We took a little jaunt up there because it's a cross-stitch store and because I have to. And I bought a few things. And this is what I bought while I was at 3 Stitches. I bought one of the Fragments in Time from Summerhouse Stitchworks. This is from her 2021 series, Tales from the Sea, and this is number 4. I want to collect all of her Fragments in Time series from like 2018 and onward, but you know, slowly but surely, right? So this is number 4. This is just one that they had there, so I bought it because I know I want to collect these eventually. So I got number 4 of the 2021 series. I bought the new Waxing Moon Designs St. Patrick's House Trio. This is one of her newer ones that I didn't have yet. And this one's fun. It has all these Celtic knots on each, above each house, which I quite like. My husband and I went to Ireland after we graduated university, before he started med school and before our first child was born. And it's one of our like most treasured memories is the time that we spent in Ireland. So that's St. Patrick's House Trio. I bought that. And then these I had never seen before because I'm super out of the loop, and they have them there at 3 Stitches and I wanted them and I bought them. This is both of these are by Twin Peak Primitives, and they're both samplers and they're just beautiful. The first one is One Nation Under God, Liberty. Gosh, this is so Nell. Hello. Liberty's welcome, reincarnated. I just love it. And it has some of the Declaration of Independence up here. All men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. One nation under God, 1776. Oh, love it. So beautiful. And then the other one is The First Thanksgiving. Also, beautiful, amazing, I love it. The first Thanksgiving, and it says, Plymouth Plantation, the first Thanksgiving, Heavenly Father, on Thanksgiving Day, we bow our heart to you and pray. We give you thanks for all you've done for joy and health, friends and family. And then numbers and letters down here. It's just a Thanksgiving themed sampler, but you guys know I'm like crazy into like Americana patterns, and both of these are perfect and beautiful, and I hadn't seen them before, and so they were a total impulse buy, but I bought them at 3 Stitches. Then the something else that came up on my Instagram randomly is that do you guys remember the old magazine The Joy of Stitching? They were doing another sale. The person who owns the rights to all of the back issues of The Joy of Stitching, it stopped in 2012, I want to say. They stopped producing it, but they had some of the most beautiful patterns. Like they had chatelaine designs in there. They had like really high-end designers design pieces for their magazine. I was quite impressed. And they were having a sale where you could buy all the back issues of The Gift of Stitching for like less than $30. So I just went ahead and bought them. And they came as PDF downloads. So now I have all the PDFs saved. And I clicked through all of the magazines, and I didn't print out a ton of patterns this first go through because there are so many patterns in like those like 6 years of magazines, but I did print out 2 that I loved. The first one was this little guy. So cute. It's a coin purse. And it's beautiful. It's like this blue folk art design. So this is the back side of the coin purse, and this is the front side with the little flap. This is stitched on banding. That this blue stuff is actually on the banding already. When I stitch it, I will probably stitch it on this color linen, but I will probably stitch this for myself. I'm not going to purchase the banding because I'm having a hard time finding this particular banding with the blue checkered edges. Regardless, this is beautiful. This is all in DMC, a couple different colors of DMC and some seed beads, and it's just so pretty. I don't know what it was about this blue coin purse that I was like, I must stitch it. So I printed out the pattern from the PDF, and yeah, that was beautiful. That was from The Gift of Stitching. And then the last one from The Gift of Stitching, I don't know why I think I want to do this because it's bonkers, and I'm not really that much of a sampler girl, but I just couldn't not print this out. This is by Reflets de Soie. I tell you, they got like high class designers to design for this magazine. Reflets de Soie. This was a 6-part mystery sampler. I have all 6 parts, obviously, because I have all the issues. And it's a redwork sampler, a French redwork sampler. And look at that. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I love it. You can't see very well, but in this band, there's actually silk ribbon woven through the stitching and a little bow of silk ribbon. And then down at the very bottom are some silk ribbon roses, which I've never done silk ribbon embroidery. That intimidates me big time. They do have instructions, but I love this. I think this is beautiful. And am I a little crazy to think I want to stitch this? Yeah. I definitely want to stitch this in the silk. This will be a lot less expensive to stitch in silk because it's only 2 colors. They're both Auvera Soie silks. One is the Soie d'Alger. One of the reds is the Soie d'Alger, which is their spun silk, and one of them is their Soie de Paris, which is, I believe, a filament silk, which I have never used a filament silk. And then the silk ribbon from Auvera Soie are the called for threads. So I haven't purchased any of that, but it's so beautiful and I just couldn't not. So I printed out all 6 parts. This is the first part of the mystery sampler, and someday I will purchase those silks and the silk ribbon and go for it. But I thought they were beautiful. So I bought The Gift of Stitching and have spent many, many hours clicking through all of the back issues. There's some amazing stuff in there. There's Prairie Schooler, Little House Needleworks, like lots of samplers. Chatelaine, before she passed away, there's a couple of her patterns in there. Like, it's good stuff. Last but not least, I have a couple of my club orders from Color and Cotton. I don't have all of them since October, September, whatever, because that would be silly. I do have January and February here though. I am pausing my subscription. I'm not canceling my subscription, but I'm pausing it for the next few months since we're getting ready to move and money's tight and we're just trying to make sure that we don't have a lot of extra expenditures, but I should be starting it back up again once we have everything squared away. So I won't have any more of these to show for the next month or two, but I'm not canceling my subscription. I'll be continuing it. I'm just not going to receive them for March or April, and then we'll kind of see where we are. But here's the fabric for January. It's chamomile, a very nice neutral. I am in the neutral fabric club because I don't do a lot of really crazy bright colors on my fabrics. They need to be, like, the most adventurous I get are like my Scary Apothecary on those pale green, orange, and purples. But this is chamomile. Beautiful. That's just a 32 count Belfast linen. Color and Cotton linen is gorgeous. So beautiful. And then the thread colors, I'm not going to take them all out, but these were the thread colors for January. I'm in the 10 skein all colors club. She has 3 different thread clubs. She has primitives, she has brights, and then she has all colors. I'm in the all colors club and I get 10 skeins a month, not 5. You can either choose 5 or 10. I get 10. So this was January. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm not going to take them out and go through them because we're almost at an hour and you guys have things to do. And then February, the fabric for February is this. This is so pretty. Stoneware. It's this medium brown gray. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. Stoneware. I'm trying to think of what. Oh, this would be really pretty for like a deep colored like sampler and like burgundies and browns and greens and navy. Like, oh, so beautiful. So that was stoneware. And then the February threads, which I just received this week. Oh, very Valentine's themed. And then these. So those were my, sorry for the glare. Those were the February threads for Color and Cotton's Thread Club. And like I said, I am going to be pausing my subscription for March and April, and then we'll see, but I'm not canceling it. I like that she lets you do that, by the way, because it took me probably 4 or 5 months of sitting on the waiting list to get into the thread club, and then like 6 months of waiting to get into the fabric club. And I love that she gives you the option to skip a month or 2 without losing your spot in the subscription. That is so nice because sometimes you just need to pause for a bit, but you don't want to have to then get back on the waiting list and wait again. So I am grateful for that. That's all I have. That was an hour-long video, guys. You are troopers to hang out if you stayed through that whole thing. If you clicked out ages ago, more power to you. I am hoping it won't be another 4 to 5 months before I film another video. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for giving me the space that I needed to mentally reset, get my stitching bug back. It is back with a vengeance, so I will be stitching a lot, I'm sure. But anyway, I hope you're all well. I hope you're all safe and happy and healthy. I hope that you have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.